It is summertime, the birds are chirping, the bees are out, school's out, everybody is graduating but has no idea that their degrees and diplomas are worthless in today's world, but best of luck with those $50,000 communications degrees. So shout out to you for being resourceful here on YouTube right now. See, YouTube is like the real life matrix. What do you want to learn today, right now, for free? You want to learn some karate moves? You want to learn some graphic design? You want to learn how to cook? Maybe make some short rib videos? We got you, Braj. There's probably even open heart surgery tutorials on YouTube by now. But today we're going to focus on the only thing that's been on my mind for the past 2 years. Why doesn't all liquid yeast come in dry form? It would make life so much easier for brewing, both home brewing and commercial brewing. Yeast brands could get their stuff on Amazon, and home brewers could easily snag them without worrying about the yeast dying or spending $30 on overnight shipping. And the only yeast that I'm aware of that has their strain in both dry and liquid form is Omega's Lutra Kveik yeast. So I'm going to do a split batch today with a side-by-side comparison and cover all the factors. Does it kick off at the same time? Does one form have a more aggressive fermentation than the other? But most importantly, does it look, smell, and taste the exact same, or are they going to be different? And I'm hoping it will be the same. So if one yeast strain can go from liquid to dry, maybe more yeast brands will put their liquid yeast in dry form. I don't know, but it seems like what one yeast can do, another can do.
Say it!
What one yeast can do, another can do?
Say it again!
What one yeast can do, another can do.
Say it again!
What one yeast can do, another can do.
And again!
What one yeast can do, another can do.
You're goddamn right.
So stick around to the end to see what happens when the exact same batch uses the same yeast, just in different forms. Hops, water, grain, yeast, and chill vibes are the ingredients to make beer. And we've come a long way since the beers in the closet days. Remember those things exploding throughout the night? Well, no more of that. We've got a draft system now. No more having to deal with the hardships of bottling. And we used to brew around the clock on every system. Propane, electric. We have used every malt that you can imagine. Close to 50 different yeast strains. And everything else you could possibly throw into a beer. Never put cereal in your mill. Learn from my mistakes. There's also a ton of tips and tricks in here, so you better be paying attention. Years ago, there was always something fermenting in my garage or hallway closet, and I've stepped away from all that for way too long. But hopefully brewing is just like riding a bike, just like Celine Dion. It's all coming back to me. I'm also going to try a new way of chilling my wort in 30 minutes without using any water. It's all about saving the whales, even the CGI ones. And I've got a killer recipe from the Braj Adam. You might recognize him from his YouTube channel, Adam Makes Beer, or visiting Cartridge Brewing in Cincinnati, where he holds it down as the head brewer. Now, I couldn't get my Herzbrucker hops in my local homebrew store, but I've got a Plan B hop that should still make for a delicious amber lager. Now, as far as the water goes, I am only going with distilled water from here on out. It's getting tougher and tougher to get, so if you see it in a store, buy all of them. Buy all 30 gallons if you can. Fortunately for me, I was able to score some distilled water at the second store I visited, and they had exactly 7 gallons left. Adam's recipe calls for a 5% beer, but I'm feeling a little bit saucy today. We're going to shoot for a 6% beer. We've got German Vienna malt batting lead off today with 5 pounds. This stuff is a little bit darker than pale malt, but it's still a very good base malt, very easy to come by. The full recipe will be in the description right underneath all my GoFundMe and merch store links. And when you're buying hops from your local homebrew store, always put it in a bucket, or this can happen, and it can be an absolute nightmare, especially if it happens in your car. We're on that claw hammer system today, and I absolutely love it. I'm not just saying that because I got it for free. I really love it. Just add all of your 7 gallons at strike. I used to recirculate manually, but it's so much easier just to have a pump and not have to deal with the sparge, and your efficiency is always going to be way better. Mill your grains twice if you're doing brew in a bag, since you can't get a stuck mash. 7 gallons total. 30-minute boil will burn off about half a gallon, and then the grain's going to soak up about another gallon and a half, leaving us with a 5-gallon batch. And a good tip is to time your system. How long does it take to get to certain temperatures? This could really help gauge a future brew day. Get to 152 and then set it and forget it. And make sure your nose beer salt game is strong and toss it in. I like to do it before I add my grains. Big shout out to whoever invented these quick connects. I'm new to these as well, and these things are awesome. Just give it a nice stir for 5 minutes, break up any clumps. I like this spoon a lot. I'm gonna crank on my pump, and I'm just gonna keep it here for 20 minutes. Change out some camera batteries, pray to Jah I don't blow a fuse, and boom, no leaks. And this part can be tricky. Big shout out to whoever invented the step ladder. I'd be face down in a gutter somewhere without this thing. Bring it to boil, and once it hits boil, we're gonna hop on the hop train. And I think this might be the lowest alpha acid hop I've ever used. Should be perfect for this style. And now it's just a Braj and his boil, where the mind wanders in full effect. where your ADHD has a VIP backstage pass. You ever think about who was that Braj that got to cover Janet Jackson's titties from that one Rolling Stone cover? How do you get that job? Or who would have been the real winner of the Kumite if Ray never started showboating against Kung Lee? Ray was smoking Kung Lee. But what if Ray went on to win and had to fight his friend Frank in the finals? Two best friends forced to fight. Would it have been like Captain Kirk and Spock forced to fight to the death? Two best friends turned against each other? Or maybe it was fate for Ray to lose, so they could continue to still drink beers and preserve their friendship. But then something happened. I got a feeling I've never felt before. Not a real emotion like happiness or depression. Two emotions I always thought were a scam. I just felt deflated. Like, what's the point of all of this? How long can these shitty tutorials go on for? Especially by myself. These videos were a lot more fun when I had Maury and Goman, the real life Ren and Stimpy. Why do I make these tutorials? I'd make more money just working at McDonald's. I started thinking about how many real life moments I've missed spending thousands of hours making these dumb YouTube videos. I could have spent so much more time spending $20 on beers at Padre games. How many more video games I could have played. And how much more time I could have been spending on the Hun and X-Hamster. Where does this come from? Does it all stem from ego or insecurity? Maybe it's my dad's fault, since he forced me to go on roller coasters when I was way too young. Am I an attention whore? Is attention bad? But if attention is bad, then all my favorite things wouldn't exist. My favorite bands wouldn't exist. My favorite comedians wouldn't exist. My favorite YouTube channels wouldn't exist. My favorite beers wouldn't exist. My favorite breweries wouldn't exist. No short rib tutorials would exist. Super Nintendo wouldn't exist. My favorite restaurants wouldn't exist. Your last obnoxious Instagram post wouldn't exist. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have eaten that whole bag of Delta 9s before I filmed this part. Or maybe I should have set up another GoFundMe for a haircut. Or maybe I should just shut the hell up and look for a sign. An omen, whether it's good or bad, just some beacon of hope, just something to tell me that emotions are for losers, and just to forget all the outside noise, and just stick to your thing, your one thing, being a barrage. It's not about emotions, it's about finding peace, it's about surviving, it's about always being chill no matter what.
Mike?
Mike's not here. It's just me, CH. And you let us in. And now you're gonna have to let us stay. Can't you see? All this time we've been making shitty YouTube videos. We've been making shitty YouTube videos for you. And we're gonna make them forever. So subscribe to our channel, smash that like button, share this video on your Facebook. Alright, so back to the brew day. Gonna rack it into 2 different corny kegs, gonna split it up, 2.5 gallons in each corny. I was gonna chill it in my chest freezer, but I did chicken out. It just doesn't feel right putting something 180 degrees into a small cold box. I just let it chill overnight. Got my dry Kveik going in my OG Pepsi corny, and I'm gonna ferment both under pressure. 5 hours later, I noticed that the dry yeast hadn't kicked off yet, but I did put on a new spunding valve, and it shot straight to 8 psi. They were both at like 7 or 8 psi. So far it's a tie. But you gotta keep in mind the dry yeast is a lot cheaper than the liquid yeast, even the Omega stuff. 3 days later, I pulled gravity readings. My liquid yeast was around 1020, which isn't good. Usually with Kveik, I finish out in like 3 days. But the dry yeast was around 1012, 1013, which was the opposite of what I expected. Now, obviously, the liquid yeast at 1020 is gonna taste a little bit sweeter, but both beers still tasted good. And they both finally finished out at 1010 3 days later. I could have cut the time in half by leaving it outside, where it's warmer than my house, but it's all good, no biggie. Okay, so they're still a little bit flat. I've only had them at 20 psi for one night. That's not gonna do it. I need another night at 20 psi, then I'll bring it down to 10. This is the dry. This is the liquid. It's the exact same beer. They look, they smell, they taste the exact same. So I guess the dry yeast wins for fermenting faster. If you made it this far, you're a barrage. Call it an amber, call it an amber lager, call it a pseudo amber, call it an IPA, call it a GoFundMe IPA. Call it whatever stands out. But I've got a super gnarly secret I have to tell you right now.